The Bliss Business Podcast, the show about empathy, connection, and consciousness in business. Today's episode is brought to you by Zero Company, your paid search, social media, and programmatic ad experts.
Hello, and welcome back to our bite-sized empathy expansion kit episode. Today, we are focusing on listening louder, empathy in social media engagement. I'm Steven Zaccato here with Tulio Siragusa.
Hello, everybody.
Tulio, we want to build trust, loyalty, and a positive brand image in social media. Why does listening empathetically matter on social media?
I think about it this way, like back in the old days in the village where everybody just knew the shop owner and the shop owner knew everyone and everybody knew each other. The way you learned about your product or services, if there was a problem or if people were delighted with it was through people, right? They just talk to each other and you got the feedback. Sometimes you didn't get the feedback and suddenly you're like, oh, why did my sales drop? Or suddenly you got more increase in the demand for your product or services and you had no idea because the conversation happened out there and you weren't privy to it. So social media just democratizes all that. It's like both you as the company has the ability to listen in to what the village is saying about you, good or bad, right? And you can participate. So you can empathetically take those insights you're learning to either make adjustments or to address concerns. And the way you do it is not through like in the past where a lot of PR firms like, let's do damage control. Someone said something negative, right? No, you actually respond empathetically to the problem and try to really be curious about what it is that the person is saying and individualize it. So it's not like just, listening and then doing broad general statements. It's actually engaging. So think of it as like the opportunity to recreate that intimate feeling of living in a village where everybody knows each other, except now the village is global, right? So you have the ability to build that one-on-one personalized relationship with a customer. And that's the gift that keeps on giving with social media when you are engaged, listening intently, curious about what they're saying, intentionally trying to connect where appropriate. If there's criticism, empathetically taking that in, humbly responding, and showing care, using that as a platform to see where you need to show care.
Yeah, I think that village example is a really good one because back in that time period, when you had an issue, they were right there. So you'd be giving that timely sort of feedback, timely engagement. It wouldn't be like, right now where you just ignore it and come back in a week later. It's so easy to do that, online and social media. But you're right there. Someone's in your store, someone's in your face about something. You've got to timely, deal with it in a timely fashion. So social media, carry that same thing through. Make sure you're timely on it. Someone's, up in your business about something. You want to make sure it's not just lingering and building resentment and causing more problems and they're feeling ignored. So, yeah, I think that's key. And then you mentioned personalized, like in the village. So, Tulio comes to my store and, hey, Tulio, what's going on? Tell me about the problem. Okay, I'm going to fix it just for you, Tulio.
I mean, I grew up in a small town, very small town. So everybody knew each other. The pharmacist knew you by name. The shopkeeper knew, everybody just knew each other. And so that also kept everybody a little more honest because reputation, can go up in smoke very quickly, right? But there's an intimacy about it. So, I'd be curious, you've been doing digital media most of your life. I'd be curious, what are some of the strategies for empathetic social media engagement? What have you seen work?
Yeah, I think first thing, I think you just sort of hit on that too, is that showing you genuinely care. I mean, I think that's just key. If you're an authentic business, you're going and you operate authentically, you need to have genuine care and express that. You can't just, go through the motions on something. You gotta be empathetic. You gotta feel that pain. Understanding fully, what's going on there. I think too, you don't have to have this conversation fully publicly. Like it can start publicly, but then it'd be like, hey, let's switch to so I can get your email and all that stuff and not have to deal with, any of your public information. And now we can bring that privately and then go through whatever back and forth we need to there. But so that it's not exposed as much if you've got that issue. But, typically we aren't having that problem with what we're doing because we go back to just being genuine and caring and listening, making sure someone's feeling heard, and then addressing the issue. I think that's what people are really looking for, 99% of the time.
And people learn about your business too on social media. I recently, in a new area, was trying to figure out, okay, where's who does this really well? Where's a good mechanic, or who does landscaping? And a slew of people responded, making recommendation. And it was surprising how some recommended the same company, the same person over and over. And this was very open, right? So you're learning from your village who they recommend and who they trust. And then you can go and engage with them directly. And there were some that were in the platform and some weren't. And guess who I responded to? The ones that were in the platform, because it was convenient. So it's like, hey, I heard 10 people recommended you, and I can generate a quick message. But they could also respond there too. So it's, the conversations are happening. If you're not participating, you're missing out. But if you're participating, you can enhance that village, that experience, because then the people that are recommending you see you active as well, right? So it makes them feel good, and it creates just a good feeling for everyone. I recommended you, so did 5 other people, and you're here with us participating, responding, and showing appreciation. Thank you so much for recommending me. Such a beautiful little touch to say thank you so much for recommending me, which you don't get to do when it's just happening outside of social media. Unless the person came to you and you asked them, did somebody recommend my store? Did someone recommend my service? Oh, yes, so-and-so. And then maybe, like we talked about in some of the previous podcasts about delighting customer, maybe just sending them a thank you note. Thank you for recommending me. These are beautiful little touch moments to show empathy and care for your customers. On social media, you get to do it almost real time. So it's really important to be there, to respond, to engage, and to build the community. Let the community know that you are grateful for the feedback, grateful for the recommendation, and even grateful for the criticism, because that's giving you an opportunity to learn something about you that you need to change or improve.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect attitude you have to take, is being grateful for that criticism, right? This is feedback for you, and it's how to improve your business. For every one person that does complaining, maybe there's 20 other people that are feeling the same way. So, you want to take advantage of that. And I think sometimes it's really hard to be grateful for that, because there's triggering things that happen. Like someone could just be factually wrong about something, and that could just be really triggering. And you have to deal with that in, not by punching back, but by, carefully, skillfully handling that. So that's like one of the triggers. Another trigger might be someone just getting really personal with you about something, and you obviously have a right not to have that happen to you, but you just have to be aware that this is what's getting your blood boiling right now. This is why you're getting ready for a knee-jerk reaction, or you're about to fail this interaction, because you are, ultimately 100% responsible for how you react to that situation, no matter what they're doing out there. So I think you have to be aware of those kind of triggering moments
and people watch and read the response to things too. Even when there's a criticism, how you respond to that, whether you show empathy and humility, makes a huge difference. I've seen people complain on Yelp or Google Review or even BBB about a service company, right? And some services companies, their reviews are all over the place, because you also have individuals that they weren't happy with something that happens to them, which has nothing to do with the service. So people express themselves. But you can distill how that company, the sort of company's attitude, based on their response, right? So if they're defensive, I don't want to do business with a company that's defensive. I immediately say, oh, this is not good, right? Instead of owning it, they're being defensive, which means if I have an issue, it's not going to be a good experience. Versus, we're so sorry that happened. This isn't how we want to do things. We want to make this right. We're going to connect with you to see how we can make it right. And then they come back and ask them to even make a comment. Can you make a public comment that this was resolved? That they can come back and say, we resolved this for the customer, what have you. But the engagement and being empathetic, especially to criticism, is key. It can enhance your business, because people are smart. They realize, okay, you can't make everybody happy. But those who aren't happy, you still try to make them happy because you responded in an empathetic, humble way instead of being defensive. The defensive posture is never going to serve you very well. So that's the beautiful thing about it, is that you can almost real time let people know who you are as a business. Even if you make a mistake and someone criticizes you, how you respond can elevate your business or keep your business down.
Yeah, and if they're complaining, they're often still thinking about being retained as a customer too. A lot of times it's just like, hey, something happened, take care of me, and you take care of them. And, you come through it maybe even better on the other side of that if you do it right.
Yeah, I mean, the mindset skip, they cared enough to actually complain about you, which means they were disappointed. They had high hopes in you. So be empathetic to that. How you respond to that acknowledges that they actually put their hopes on you and somehow something went wrong. Own up to it, do what you can. But responding is key to all this, and how you respond is key. That's why applying empathy is always going to win. You might have some that you will not satisfy, and you have to be okay with that. But if you take the approach of caring, even a complaint could be an opportunity.
There's a good book on this called Hug Your Haters: How to Embrace Complaints and Keep Your Customers. Check that out. This is, it talks about being an opportunity for your business to improve and to retain customers, and gives you practical tips like moving someone from that on-stage hater to an off-stage conversation, skillfully. So that's it for today's Empathy Expansion Kit episode. Join us tomorrow for Thursday's guest conversation, and we'll see you in the next Bliss Business podcast.